in terms of April 4th, in 1949, 28 European countries and 2 North American countries formed the Intergovernmental Military Alliance known as NATO, which is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. But a lot of the reasons why we wanted to have this, and primarily also talk about the U.S., even though it may seem that the U.S. is always centered, is that when we talk about our Americas or the rest of the Americas, there's a disconnect from understanding ourselves as part and parcel of the Americas. And when we talk about the militarization, we can see the ways that we connect through that. That the U.S. Southern Command, or SouthCOM, is one of these combatant commands, incorporating the Caribbean, South and Central America. SouthCOM claims to be protecting human rights in the region as a long-term responsibility through the development of regional militaries, controlled and facilitated by the U.S.
1,500 experts from the participating nations, militaries, and medical personnel will work together to share tactics, techniques, and procedures to ensure seamless integration during future emergencies or times of crisis. This is straight from the SouthCOM website, by the way. The exercise focuses on a wide array of operational objectives, including disaster response, medical readiness, cyber defense, search and recovery, water rescue, and small arms combat tactics.
This July 25th will mark 127 years since the U.S. invaded and occupied our lands. As a result of us being a colony, Puerto Rico doesn't have a say in being able to participate in activities that SouthCOM or anything else that the U.S. military wants to do. They use this land in Vieques still to this day, and also Roosevelt Roads, which is located in Ceiba on the main island, to do further military testing.
The U.S. has also been pressing countries in the region, which have Russian and Soviet-era military equipment, to donate them to Ukraine in the U.S. NATO proxy war against Russia. It can now count on a significant stockpile of arms, including 24 Mi-17 military helicopters and 2 Mi-35 attack helicopters from Moscow, and arms bought during the Fujimori regime. As General Laura Richardson has stated in January of last year during a virtual appearance at Atlantic Council, they are working with the countries that have Russian equipment to either donate it or switch it out for United States equipment, with 6 countries in particular, Peru, being among the leaders in possession of Russian military equipment. U.S. Air Force F-16 Viper demonstration team performed combat capabilities demonstrations between the U.S. and Peru at the Festival Aéreo Chiclayo 2024 in Chiclayo, Peru, June 15th and 16th. Here also you can see 2 B-52 bombers flying mission in support of SouthCOM. As part of the Air Force Global Strike Command, the B-52 enables combat-ready forces to conduct strategic nuclear deterrence and global strike operation in support of combatant commanders. What has this meant for the Peruvian people, especially those resisting this current coup regime? The number of deaths since the coup on December 7, 2022 continues to rise, with at least 100 deaths. Increased cooperation and training, interoperability, enhanced coordination, and further deepening of these ties has meant effectively that the Peruvian armed forces are largely under the influence of the U.S. military. But with this repression comes resistance. The Peruvian masses have not stopped organizing and mobilizing against this current coup regime, the genocide of Congress, for justice for the over 100 martyrs, and for the political project that we voted for to own our resources to fund the people's needs to actually come to fruition. The next major round of mobilizations called for will be July 27th, 28th, and 29th to coincide with Peruvian Independence Day.
How many people know of the School of the Americas? Yeah? So today, they shake your name, right? Because I guess School of the Americas has a bad rep. So today it is the Western Hemisphere Institute for Security Cooperation. And that is what it is today. And I think this is primarily very important. Because I want to talk a bit about Cop City, but a lot of folks' familiarity with Cop City comes out of the struggle in Atlanta, right? Both Cop City and WINSEC exist in Georgia, right? Along with the Gilly program, which is training cops with Israelis. So all of those things are happening in Atlanta. But as you can see here with this map, Cop cities have not just existed in Atlanta, it has spread across the US, right? So both institutions, the WINSEC and Cop City, they share rooted history and training of military and law enforcement personnel, particularly in Latin American countries, by the US government. because they do say that about cop cities, that they do intend to not just train cops here, but make it an international training zone, especially in Atlanta. So while Cop City and the School of Americas, WINSEP now, they're distinct entities, they share common elements in terms of the training and the law enforcement practices. So Cop City aims to erase advanced urban environment and law enforcement, creates an advanced urban environment for law enforcement operations, incorporating surveillance systems. And this aligns with how we understand WINSEP, the historical focus on the training and the police personnel and tactics, intelligence gathering, and counterinsurgency. So the connections between these two institutions serve as a background for a necessary critical examination, but then also helps us connect our struggles. This brings us closer to understanding ourselves as part and parcel. This brings us closer to a politic of Nuestra America.
And so these are all extremely important to recognize, because these things, they're working in a way that they're doing these things in our face. And I think it's very important that we talk about them and we let people know what SouthCOM is, and also talk about Puerto Rico's colonial status and the fact that we were given citizenship in 1917 specifically to fight in US wars, specifically in World War I. Most Puerto Ricans have family members who died in the Korean War, who died in the Vietnam War because we were forced to go there because of the draft. And so I think that these are all very important things to name. And like I said, there's still 5 active military bases that we're demanding be shut down. It's not just the US military, but it's also the FBI, the CIA, all of these different police forces. There's also police exchange programs where police from the United States will come to Puerto Rico to train Puerto Rican police to use the same tactics that they're using here. And we all know who else they train with in Israel. So they're training with the IOF, they're bringing back these tactics, and then they're also using them in Puerto Rico to quell protests.
And so with US SouthCOM and what we are prepared to do, we want to make sure that we take care of our responses are humane in this crisis that's currently happening. Certainly our Department of State and the diplomatic negotiations and solutions that they're working with other governments in the Caribbean and in the international community and with the UN. We hope that those will absolutely be successful at the end of the day.